All right, folks, so welcome to the first playoff edition of NFL Prediction Center, or for us, Loser Center.
Depression Center.
Not a single one of our teams made the playoffs.
I'm used to it, though. So
he's used to it. This is kind of a weird feeling for me. We haven't been out in 4 years.
Yeah.
Before that, we haven't been out in, 10 years?
Yeah.
It stings, but you know what? I didn't even want to see them in the playoffs this year. The Colts were kind of unfortunate, and also kind of brought it upon themselves to make it come down to that last game. And anyway, they're out. We're not going to talk about them. This is a playoff edition. We're talking about playoff teams. The first matchup is the red hot, and this is apt because of their team colors, Kansas City Chiefs versus the kind of surprising Houston Texans. I mean, they kind of took advantage of a terrible division and some key games
for sure.
To make the playoffs. Who you got, Dave? Kansas City or the Houston Texans?
It's weird because it's playoff time, and because we live in Canada, and I find because of our NHL love, we tend to take the playoff hockey sense and turn it into other sports, which is not always necessarily the case.
No.
So you got to remind yourself that this is not hockey, and teams don't necessarily turn it on in the playoffs in football. So that being said, I'm gonna say Chiefs just because Texans are the Texans, and they shouldn't be even be in the playoffs. So.
Interesting. What do you think, Mike?
I think we all know that come playoff time, what really matters is defense, like as a whole, and how well your quarterback plays.
Execution.
Exactly. I mean, the whole team matters on the offense. The offensive line matters, but I think primarily it's the quarterback on offense and defense as a whole. And I don't think anybody could argue that the Chiefs have a better quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Hoyer has done a really stellar job, but I don't think he's on the same level as Alex Smith. And Alex Smith isn't too great, but he's been doing a lot of work with his legs, which is really surprising to people.
Andy Reid.
Well, look, I mean, it is Andy.
Jeremy Maclin.
It is Andy Reid. It is Jeremy Maclin, but at the same time, Alex Smith is a pretty mobile quarterback. I mean, even in San Fran, he was like that, and he's going to produce, I think, when it matters most. And I really don't see the Texans doing anything. And the defense of the Chiefs is really scary. I think come playoff time, I think even Justin Houston wasn't even in for like 6 weeks, and look how scary they are.
Yeah.
So imagine with him in the lineup.
So I take it you're going with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
All right.
As much as it pains me to say.
I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb here and say that when the Colts came back from 38 down, beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which he called, thank you for that. I'm just gonna say that Alex Smith looked kind of shell shocked after that.
Yeah.
And since then, Reid has got this whole team just riding this wave of confidence that they can do it no matter who's hurt. They have the next man up thing going on.
Absolutely.
Someone goes down, someone else steps up. I feel like if someone would make a mistake, someone else would come in and try to make a big play to make up for that. The Texans have had injuries, but it's more of a question of lack of personnel.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at positionally one versus the other, the Texans just don't stack up on paper to the Chiefs.
No.
Now, we all know on paper is one thing, and then the next day you kind of get burned by it.
Yeah.
But I really don't think this is the game that I'm going to get burned on personally if I take the Chiefs. I've seen the Chiefs play. They're really, really good. And just from a coaching perspective, I feel like Andy Reid is going to prepare his team a lot better. They should be able to answer the J.J. Watt problem. And once you do that, the Texans are pretty much, in my opinion, a non-factor.
I will say one thing, though. Every year we have that one surprise win at the beginning of the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah.
This looks like it could be a potential because the rest of the matchups are pretty even, minus the Packers Redskins.
That's the one I'm taking as my
But I could see the Chiefs choking it up at the same time, just because I know Andy Reid's tendencies in the playoffs, and 5 NFC Championship matches, but at the same time, no championships.
Yeah.
So you're going with the Chiefs as well?
Yeah, I'm going. We're all native. Hey, on to the next game.
So for the second Saturday matchup, AFC Steelers Bengals divisional matchup. Kind of a rarity here in the NFL. So who do you guys have winning this one?
Well, I don't think the division has much to do with this, besides exposure to the team. The Steelers kind of got in despite themselves.
Yep.
They got beat in Baltimore 2 weeks ago, and last week they managed to pull it off and make the playoffs against the lowly Cleveland Browns, who've since fired their GM and head coach. That being said, though, the Steelers have some incredible players, including Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and they just have a lot of offensive weapons, and their defense has been solid. The Bengals, I don't think they'll have Andy Dalton for this game. He didn't do anything at practice, so I mean, that's your whole team right there. I mean, quarterback is a quarterback league.
Yeah.
It's a quarterback and defense league, like you said. And the Bengals defense is good. It's a very good defense, but without your quarterback, I don't know how many points you're going to put up against the Steelers, especially when it's playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in Pittsburgh, which is a rarity. Usually Pittsburgh manages to have some games in their horrible stadium to play in. It's a very tough place to play, but I don't know. I don't see the Bengals pulling through in this one. I'm going to take the Steelers.
Okay, Michael?
You go. Look, as much as I respect the Bengals this year, they've done a lot of great things even without Andy Dalton, who's been playing, top notch, top 5 quarterback in the league this year. I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on the Steelers. I think that the Steelers have been the Bengals' kryptonite for the past 3-4 years. They've just they've known how to figure them out. They have that playoff experience. Big Ben has won everything twice.
Yeah.
So I mean they know how to win, and the Bengals. I think if they show up well and still lose, I think we should all get rid of that playoff choker thing. I really don't think this year if they lose it could be blamed.
I don't think they're chokers. I just think they've been unfortunate to have really good opponents and just not been ready to face them.
They played the Chargers a couple of years ago, who have been they were hot, but I wasn't overly impressed with the Bengals. They really choked that out. Yeah,
I know all about that first-hand experience.
Yeah, goddamn Chargers.
Could have had many more Super Bowls for those pesky Chargers.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we should all if they show up well, if they play well, which they can win this game. It's a very winnable game, but I just don't see it happening. I think Steelers are going to be able to pass on them. I think Brown's going to have a huge game. They're going to step up big time.
All right, what do you think, Dave?
I'm gonna go a little against the grain, against you guys, and pick the Bengals, just because I feel like they are gonna get over that playoff hump and the fact that they've never been able to really do anything once they're there.
I will say this: in this league of weird happenings this year, I wouldn't be surprised if their backup QB manages to pull off an upset win over the Steelers.
Their backup QB has played in, I know it's college football, but the guy has been, in clutch situations. He's come up big time in Alabama. I know, I watch a lot of college football. The guy's, A.J. McCarron is no joke of a quarterback, but...
he's been playing decent also. It's not like he's been stinking it up and they've been on a losing streak too, right? So, I'm kind of torn, because I really like the Bengals and I don't like the Steelers, but the Steelers have my boy Mike Vick, and I'd love for him to win a Super Bowl. Although be it as a backup, but whatever, his career has come to that point. So, but I'm gonna stick with my guns. I'm gonna stick with my gut. I'm gonna stick with my prediction. I'm going with the Bengals with the upset.
Cool. All right. So we got our first upset special of the week. Let's see what happens in the next game. The first of the Sunday matchups, I believe. Now we're coming up on the enigmatic Seahawks versus the upstart and surprise Minnesota Vikings, who are in the playoffs once again. Who do you got, Dave?
It's a tough one, this one, because you don't know what you're going to get out of the Seahawks.
This is a difficult game to call. Yeah.
Normally, on any other given Sunday in any other given year, you'd say the Seahawks would kill them. Vikings have surprised a lot of people. They got the rushing crown with Peterson, who seems to be back, although this year's rushing... there
hasn't been any
it's been a very bad year for running backs. I don't know, is Cam Chancellor playing?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think you could put the hockey mentality with that. He looks like a hockey guy who plays in playoff situations.
Is Marshawn Lynch back?
I think he just practiced today with a candy cane. He practiced with a candy cane today. So
it's just great.
I'm gonna say Seahawks, just because I feel like they know what it takes to win. The Vikings have almost no idea how to win. Everything about them, other than Peterson, is very young and inexperienced, especially their quarterback. Yeah. I think it's gonna be a bit of a close one, but Seahawks are gonna come out on top.
I think they're playing in Minnesota. The crowd is gonna be absolutely batshit nuts.
And it's freezing.
And it's freezing cold. But I think if the Seattle Seahawks can strike quickly, they can shut that crowd up. And I think once you instill doubt in the fans, it seeps into the players really quickly. Pete Carroll is an extremely good coach with a lot of experience. This team could go down 3 scores and still roar back, just like they did against Green Bay. And the Vikings might not be able to put up that many points. I mean, they have a good defense, but their offense is not stellar. I mean, they allowed some of the fewest points in the NFL, but they also scored some of the fewest. So, you know.
Their defense is also very new.
Exactly.
You know,
they're young. Exactly. They're young kids.
Like
so when you're playing against people with experience who can read your looks a little better and there's more pressure on the game to actually win this one, I think when it comes down to who wants it more, Seahawks would really love to make a 3rd Super Bowl and win. I don't know if that'll happen, but I think they'll get past the Vikings in Minnesota. That's my pick. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, as much as I love Mike Zimmer and what he's done with the Vikings, I think he should definitely be up for Coach of the Year. This guy has done great with, although they do have talent, not as much as other teams.
More than the Raiders.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
No, the Raiders have quite a bit of talent, actually.
We still need to upgrade our whole secondary and linebacking core. But that's off topic. Vikings, they're well coached. Mike Zimmer's a great coach. They got good coordinators. They got a good run game. But as David mentioned before, Bridgewater is really he hasn't had the spotlight on him like ever in his career. I haven't seen like
he's played without pressure.
Exactly. So I think for the first time, even in his house, I mean in Minnesota, I mean the Seahawks are just gonna blitz him. I think they're just gonna blitz him from all directions. Maybe do some like exotic blitzes where no one's hands are on the line. Everybody's just standing up and. He doesn't know how to read the defense. I mean,
get him shaking.
Exactly. The Seahawks have been there. They've done that. So I think they're going to come out on top. I think the inexperience of the Vikings is going to be their undoing.
Let's see if the bridge collapses on Sunday. Next game.
So we reached the first irrelevant bowl of the week.
Wrong.
Playoff irrelevant bowl.
False statement.
Okay, it's not a relevant bowl. Fine. The Packers at Redskins. Your love of your life, Kirk Cousins. Who do you have winning this?
There's the Hall of Fame. There's, great achievements in life. I don't think there's a great.
And then there's winning the NFC East.
Yeah, I don't think you can measure the importance of coming up with a great historic catchphrase.
By accident.
You look at great moments in sports, and a lot of them are athletic plays, but to have a catchphrase just ignite a whole team is almost unheard of.
As if Roman Reigns is the quarterback.
Almost. You like that has become like a rallying cry, and it's a psychological tool that these Redskins have used all season.
No, it's really not.
It is to win games. Now,
is there a line that you're reading between that I can't see?
Now, you can say what you want, but the Green Bay Packers, while skilled, have been playing like shit, if I can say that on camera. Because, in my opinion, Mike McCarthy has lost the room. In my opinion. Sure. In my opinion. Because when you look at them play, I don't see the fire there. Like we said a bunch of times, we said he goes for the safe play, he plays football out of the playbook, and it's like he's not thinking anymore. He's on autopilot, it seems.
Yeah.
When you're on autopilot, and you're playing a team that is just having the time of their lives, it looks like, these Washington Redskins, whose offense seems to score 3 to 4 touchdowns a game easily by air.
My God, they played the Eagles and the Giants.
Doesn't
matter.
What if your division is actually an elite division?
We're
just has to play terribly.
We're not.
Anyway, I personally think the Redskins were almost undefeated completely at home this season. They've won so many games at home.
The Cowboys at home.
Yeah, but they were almost undefeated. That was a Monday night game that just went weird.
No, it went the way it should have went.
It was a weird game.
Gabe gave the Cowboys some tips on sputter too wide the net.
Yeah.
Against his brother.
But let me just say, their home record speaks for itself. They're at home against a Packers team that just seems to not have been able to get it done. As much as people want to say the Packers should be favored in this game, which they probably are and should rightfully be because, hey, they won a Super Bowl not long ago. Point is, I'm going Redskins. That's my upset. What do you got, Mike?
Oh my God, this is a really bad game.
Especially after the speech I gave.
Yeah.
You like that?
Oh, I like that.
as you said, Packers have been lackluster,
Yeah.
to put it
And
nicely.
they're packing something.
Yeah, but and the Redskins are riding high and are, you know, as you said, virtually undefeated at home. I think they lost one, as you said.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? Screw it. I'm going with the Redskins on this.
Oh my
Yes!
God!
I have a convert.
But I really hope the Packers win because I hate the Redskins and I hate every team in that.
But you
division.
gotta admit when something's good, man,
Okay,
and
let's-
they're good.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the only rational person here, apparently. As high as the Redskins are. Okay, I'll give them. They're confident. At the
They're
moment.
higher than both of us for picking them.
The Packers' lowest low is still miles higher than the Redskins' highest high.
So far.
Mike McCarthy, as stale as a coach as he can possibly be, which I guess is kind of a good word, is they're still the Packers. They still won a Super Bowl not too long ago.
Yeah.
The Redskins were last in the division last year.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big reason for that. You say Mike McCarthy lost the room?
Yeah.
The Redskins don't have a room.
They seem to have room right now.
No, they don't. They don't. The Deshaun Jackson, all he cares about is beating the Eagles. It's the only thing he cares about. Pierre Garçon doesn't show up until the last possible second in a game that they've already won. Kirk Cousins is playing out of his ass. Like, oh my, this is a backup.
Like Scott Darling?
He's the like
Scott Darling?
Scotty D
Got it done.
infiltrated your system.
Yeah.
And then beat you guys once you got rid of him, okay? He was a predator, you told him to leave, he beat
This is
you.
hockey related.
Anyways, I'm picking the Packers. There's no chance in hell the Redskins are winning this game. And if they do, by some miracle, it doesn't matter because they didn't deserve it. So, Packers are winning this game. I don't care how bad Mike McCarthy's play calling is. It's John Gruden come to Philly. Jay Gruden has no idea what he's doing. He can't tell the difference between his head and his ass. Go Packers.
One thing I will say is that if Aaron Rodgers is on point, I really don't see the Redskins having a chance. But he hasn't been on point at
That's
all
just
this
it.
season.
It's playoff time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna pull out a Chicago Blackhawk
What, to get lucky?
and win.
I don't know. I see this coming down to the Packers having a pretty decent lead, some crazy offensive plays by the Redskins coming out, and then by some miracle, either field goal or last second 70-yard pass to Deshaun Jackson, which he's done before.
It's going to happen.
It'll win the game. I see that happening in my head.
Look, Jordan Reed has, I think he has the most receptions for a tight end. So, I mean, beware. This guy is no joke.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins got a great offense.
Yes, you are.
Anyway, we got two guys for the Redskins.
Two idiots.
One guy for the Packers.
One genius.
This has been the first week of predictions from Three-Sided Box Prediction Center. We'll see what happens. We'll be doing this throughout the entire playoffs up until the Super Bowl, at which point we will probably put money on it. So, until that point comes, this has been Johnny, David.
You see how delusional he is? He can't even pick. He doesn't know his own name.
You know, I'm so focused on winning the Redskins because my Colts are out.
You have to convince yourself so much that they're gonna win.
I need to believe.
Because you know they're not gonna win.
I
You have to
need to
convince
believe.
yourself. You're crazy.
I need to project that out there.
Anyways.
Anyway, this has been Three-Sided Box with Prediction Center signing off one more time. See you next week.